You are Locked On Lions Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Man, oh man, it doesn't happen very often in the NFL, but every now and then you get those games where you kick your feet up because, wow, it was a relaxing Sunday afternoon watching this Lions team dominate the Tennessee Titans 52-14, the final in cruise control. We got a lot to talk about. There was 7 different touchdowns scored by 6 different Lions. How about that? Welcome into a live Locked On Lions postcast. I am your host, Jake Rietma, formerly with 97.1 The Ticket, the Lions flagship radio station, now with Locked On Sports Detroit, and I am fired up to be with you on a live Locked On Lions postcast. Shout out to Matt Derry and the Locked On Lions on the daily, keeping you updated, and we get to do the fun post-game reaction show. That's the 1-2 punch. It's all part of Locked On's coverage, your team each and every day. And as always, this is your post-game destination. It's the Locked On Lions postcast. And what a fun time of the year. We've got Locked On Pistons postcast, Locked On Wolverines postcast. It all happens right here on the Locked On Sports Detroit network. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Your team each and every day. Hey, how about a huge shout out for today's presenting sponsor, Game Time. That's right. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Maybe even used it to get to today's game at Ford Field, which was an absolute treat. Offense, defense, special teams, complete and total domination. Now, this isn't a victory lap for beating a 1-6 team, but all you can do is go out and execute when you're the superior team, which the Lions were, and they did exactly that. Now, opening series of the game. Let's just get some of the uglies out of the way from the very jump. Jared Goff gets sacked. You get behind the sticks. And I'm thinking, all right, well, let's dial it in here a little bit, Lions. I mean, this is a 1-loss team versus a 1-win team. Surely we can play better than this. And it did not take long like that. And when I mean like that, this Lions team, the special teams really gave this team a boost, starting with that interception, or I'm sorry, the defense gave this team the boost with that interception from Trevor Nowaske. Shout out Saginaw Valley. Even though they're a big rival of mine, still got to show love to the D2 guys that make it to the show. Nowaske had the pick. The Lions go up with the score on the ground from David Montgomery. You knew he was going to come out and be running angry after he had that fumble last week against Minnesota, and the Lions were up 7-0. Now, give Tennessee some credit because they kind of sliced and diced this Lions defense in the first quarter. In fact, that was one of my angry tweets in the first quarter, which obviously now seeing a 52-14 final score, I can take some of those back. But Mason Rudolph was connecting with Calvin Ridley in that first quarter. He had over 100 yards receiving. Defense has to be better because Tennessee came down, got the score, but man, did not take long. One play, 70 yards to the house. Jahmyr Gibbs, and bonus points if you're like me and you started him in fantasy football today. A 70-yard run. He was untouched. It was blocked to perfection. This offensive line getting off the ball, firing to the second level, and really creating wide open running lanes for Jahmyr Gibbs, who again, that was a touchdown in two-hand touch football. That made it 14-7. Again, Titans come back tied up at 14. And when Ben Johnson is in his bag, which is, I believe, what the kids are saying, which today was another example, more often than not, he is distributing the wealth. And he always talks about this. There's so many mouths to feed on this offense. And Brock Wright, not one of those mouths that's talked about near enough, because that's a guy that makes impactful plays at the tight end position, a lot more blocking than anything else. And of course, Laporta, your main tight end receiving threat. But for Brock Wright to get in on the action, you love to see that. He gets the touchdown to put the Detroit Lions up by a score of 21-14. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets in on the action with a touchdown near the goal line. And this is when I thought the broadcast crew, both Kevin Kugler and then Daryl Johnston on the color side of things, Daryl Johnston does a good job of breaking down how difficult the Lions are to defend, not only because of all the weapons, but because of all the window dressing, all the pre-snap motion, all the different avenues that are at play when you have the Lions looking to punch the football in. And And we haven't even gotten to the trick plays of David Montgomery throwing the ball to Sam Laporta. But hey, that example of Amon-Ra St. Brown catching a touchdown off play action that made it 28-14. Lions get one more before the half. And exactly as I was alluding to, it's near the goal line. You've got Sam Laporta receiving the ball from, that's right, David Montgomery. You know, if you saw the Lions Twitter account talk about that video of what positions guys used to play when they were little, David Montgomery played quarterback, and he put a little mustard on that, a little nice tight spiral, finding Laporta in the back of the end zone. You love to see. I guess Laporta can only catch touchdowns when it's a trick play. You know, the one in Dallas a couple weekends ago was off one of the flea flickers, and now here it's Montgomery throwing it to him. And I can't believe I haven't given a huge salute to the special teams play of the Detroit Lions. First, it was Dorsey with a long kick return that set up the Lions for a short field, and that was the Brock Wright touchdown, just a 25-yard drive because of the Dorsey kick return. And then Kalif Raymond, my goodness, more on him in a second, but his punt return, the first one set the Lions up for a short field. Again, 22-yard field on that scoring drive when Laporta made the catch, and then he finally gets into the end zone because I thought his first long punt return, he had a chance to score, but in the third quarter, he breaks it open with the 90-yard punt return. And man, it made it 14-14. You're looking at this game like everything is clicking. And again, it's the Tennessee Titans. No disrespect. It's any given Sunday. But at the same time, this is a Tennessee Titans team. And the Lions defense forced 4 turnovers. The Titans are minus 14 in the turnover differential for the season. So you did what you were supposed to do. This was a very winnable game. You were at home. You got everybody involved. Jared Goff, I mean, you're going to look at the stat line, and Jared Goff had one of his career low in passing numbers, 85 yards in passing. He did have the 3 touchdowns, but I got to give a shout out. This was funny to I think it was Nolan Bianchi, who now covers the Lions. He's done a great job for the Detroit News. I think he's done some Red Wing stuff as well. But man, he pointed this out, and it's kind of funny, but it's just also wild. Jared Goff's days done 85-yard passings are the second fewest in his career, and the Lions win at 52-14. So it truly is a team game. It's not about the individual statistics, but man, this was a fun one to witness at Ford Field. If you're at the game, would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments where you watched this one, what your reactions were to all of the phenomenal special teams plays. And again, I got to give the defense some credit. We talked about the Nowaske interception. Kerby Joseph had an interception, a couple of forced fumbles, one by Amik Robertson, one from Carlton Davis. And Amik Robertson's forced fumble was recovered by Carlton Davis. And then Carlton Davis's forced fumble was recovered by Isiah Thomas, who made his Lions debut. I wanted to say Pistons debut because he wore the Isiah Thomas Pistons jersey into the game. So days like today, you know, there's enough white knuckle games like we had last weekend against the Minnesota Vikings. This afternoon, I hope everybody enjoyed. And if you were at Ford Field, would love to hear from you as well. But either way, this was a game where you could just kick back, watch your team dominate, and maybe have a few pops and maybe a few adult beverages and just kind of leisurely cruise through the game, knowing your team was, in fact, in cruise control for their 6th win of the season to go to 6-1 on the year. Now, looking around at the rest of the division, we'll do some live scoreboard watching right now because the Packers and Jags were in a good one. It was tied late. I know the Jags went down to score and tie it at 27, but I think the Packers came back. In fact, they did. They win this one. Dang it, 30-27. Packers escape with a win over the Jacksonville Jags, 30-27. So it's always fun to keep your eye on the rest of the division, but unfortunately the Packers win. So let me know in the comments what you thought of this one. Jared Goff, 3 touchdowns, but second career lowest number in passing yards with just 85. Jahmyr Gibbs with a long rushing touchdown. David Montgomery with a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. Kalif Raymond with a punt return for a touchdown and a receiving touchdown. Throw in one from Amon-Ra St. Brown and Brock Wright, as well as Sam Laporta. Whoo, that's a lot of points. And Jake Bates. Sorry, I didn't mention this earlier either, but Jake Bates gets into the action with a 51-yard field goal that looked like it would have been good from 70. I mean, you talk about a weapon, and I know it's indoors and it's kind of his stomping grounds. I mean, it's his comfort level playing for the Michigan Panthers, where the Lions signed him from. So he has proven time and time again he loves kicking at Ford Field. All right, your comments are next. Don't go anywhere. It's a live Locked On Lions postcast reacting to the 52-14 win over the Tennessee Titans. My name is Jake Riepma. As always, appreciate you for tuning in to this live Locked On Lions postcast, your Lions postgame destination, all part of Locked On Lions, Locked On Detroit, Locked On Sports Detroit Network. Don't go anywhere. Back in just a moment. Hey, this episode of the Locked On Lions postcast is brought to you by LinkedIn. That's right. LinkedIn is the tool you need when you're hiring for your small business. You want to find qualified professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs is the tool to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Look, LinkedIn isn't just a job board. I'm guilty of this. You go on LinkedIn, you're looking for jobs, but LinkedIn is so much more than that. On the hiring side, LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70%, that's right, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't even visit any other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours, where you can hire professionals like a professional, and it's all on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Now, terms apply, but don't forget linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Today's episode is also brought to you by Prize Picks. The most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports is on Prize Picks. I know that, you know that, but it's worth a reminder, and it's real simple how it works. You pick 2 or 6 more players on their projected stat lines. You pick more or less, and voila, you're watching the winnings roll on in. Now, there's a reason Prize Picks has over 8 million users and active users at that. It's simple. It's the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's not one of those things you're going against a number of different sharks and against the experts. No, it's just you against the numbers. And oh yeah, Prize Picks has all the promotions. They even invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can help lead to big payouts. I'm talking Taco Tuesdays on Tuesdays. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projected up to 25% and provide even more value and a little more sizzle. Oh yeah, we love that. So download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 off instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first lineup. You don't even need to win. Prize Picks, run your game. What a day, what a day, what a day for the Detroit Lions. 6-1, first place in the NFC North. This game showed you a lot in all 3 facets: offense, clicking, special teams, phenomenal. Special teams were special. How about that? And an embarrassment of riches on the offense. Defense forces 4 turnovers a couple of times. That's going to happen in the course of a game in the NFL. I mean, when it's all said and done, you only give up 14 points. But there were a couple of drives where, all right, why is Mason Rudolph to Calvin Ridley slicing and dicing up this secondary? But that being said, when you have the offense and the special teams and the defense forces 4 turnovers, you're going to win a lot of games. You're going to win a lot of games handedly. 52-14 is no exception. Let's get to those comments. We've got a lot to get to on the Locked On Lions postcast. Demetrius McNeil is first up. The touchdown incomplete ratio is absolutely insane. Yeah, that continues to be a story in which this Lions offense, and specifically Jared Goff, is the model of efficiency. I mean, as many or more touchdowns as incomplete passes, it's just, it's insane. I don't know how else to put it. 3 incompletions today, 3 touchdowns. And again, you don't want to sound like that fanboy that's just oohing and eyeing over this team, but at the same time, they're just checking every box. Now, Aiden Hutchinson was at the game. You see him in the big air cast, or I don't know the medical terminology. I apologize, but he's up in the suite. Obviously, his leg was recently surgically repaired, and that's in the back of your mind as far as how can we replace Aiden Hutchinson. Trade deadline looming in the near future. Trade deadline is actually on election day, so how about that? Busy day all around. But you've got Aiden Hutchinson needing to be his productivity needing to be replaced in some way, shape, or form. Al Davis for the Raiders with the letter to ESPN saying we're not trading Max Crosby, so there's no chance that Max Crosby will be on the move. So you start to think about other defensive edge rushers that might help you. Zadarius Smith, a former Pro Bowler for the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, Myles Garrett gets all the attention at that position for the Browns, and rightfully so. But maybe you add a guy like Zadarius Smith. Only time will tell what Brad Holmes and the Lions decide to do. Maybe it's Josh Uche out of the New England Patriots, although they just extended him, former Michigan Wolverine. So obviously fans around here familiar with his game. He's somebody to keep an eye on as well. All right, Jason Walter says, I love football, as do I, Jason Walter. Is that key guy available soon? I'm not sure. Lions key as far as I'm not sure. My apologies on that one. Okay, the other thing with the Detroit Lions, as far as I would say when you win 52-14, there's the flexibility and the freedom to talk about some of the other important news and notes around this team. No Jamison Williams today, obviously with the 2-game suspension. There was no lapse in offensive productivity without him. However, next Sunday against the Green Bay Packers, who that game will be for first place with the Packers at, I believe, 5-2 after the win. And then with 6-2, my apologies, 6-2 after the win now, and with the Lions at 6-1, that game for first place in the NFC North. Keep an eye on what Minnesota is up to as well. But every division game so important. And so with the Vikings losing on Thursday Night Football against the Rams, they're also with 2 losses at 5-2, the Lions at 6-1. So a lot of, and we've talked about this, the NFC North being the best division in all of football, very well, the way that the cookie crumbles, if you will, the NFC North is very, very challenged. Okay. That being said, I'm not 100% sure, and I see the comment now from Jason Walter, Key, the Titans guy who killed Decker. Got it. Yeah. Maybe I thought you were talking about somebody for the Lions, and I'm racking my brain like, what is going on here? But no. So I would have to imagine that, and that was Arden Key. Yeah. So he had a sack today, 2 sacks actually. Where's number 49 for the Titans? Plays a little bit of that linebacker position, so it wouldn't be an exact replica of the position Aiden Hutchinson played at the edge rusher, but it certainly would be a valuable addition for this defense. And so, hey, if he is available, the Titans obviously got to be in a position that they'd be willing to make a deal, and he would look good in a Lions uniform. There is no doubt about it. But thank you for clearing that up. The Aiden Key for the Tennessee Titans, not a player for the Detroit Lions. So there we go. Okay. All right. With the Lions winning 52-14, They now are 6-1 on the season and in first place in the NFC North. No Jameson Williams this afternoon. No Jameson Williams next Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. What type of impact will that have? Fortunately for the Lions offense, they have so many weapons, but we can't wait to see Jameson back stretching that defense with the uncoachable speed that he has. Okay, one more segment on tap. Lions win this one 52-14. We'll close it out with a little bit more of a discussion on what's coming up next, what we've got on the channel, what the Lions have in store leading up to the game against the Packers, and we'll continue to break this one down on a live Locked On Lions postcast. Don't go anywhere. We close it out next on Locked On Sports Detroit. This episode of the Locked On Lions postcast is brought to you by Game Time. That's right. The only ticketing app you'll ever need. It's Game Time because it is the best. Anytime I'm buying tickets to a live event, whether it be a sporting event, whether it be a concert, maybe a comedy tour, you name it, I'm using Game Time because Game Time specializes in finding you the lowest price possible, even on last minute deals. In fact, especially on last minute deals, because as it gets closer and closer to kickoff or tip off or puck drop, whatever it be, those prices at Game Time will go low because Game Time guarantees the lowest price, or they will credit you 110% of the difference if you find a better deal. How about that peace of mind? And speaking of peace of mind, this is my favorite part. You know exactly what you're getting with the panoramic seat view on the app. No deception. When you get to the game, it's going to look exactly how it did on the app. So it's all about that transparency. And don't forget about the all-in pricing feature. When you toggle this feature on the app, it'll show you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Because listen, we all love efficiency. We all love the bottom line. We don't want like those other ticketing apps that have a fee after fee after fee. No, just give me the bottom line, turn on that all-in pricing feature, and let me know exactly how much this ticket costs. Game Time has that option available. You just got to toggle it in the app. That's right. The Game Time Picks makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, and theaters. No doubt about it. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but create that account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. That's Locked On NFL. Download the Game Time app today, and I ask you, what time is it? Game time. All right, final segment of the program here on Locked On Sports Detroit. It's been a busy weekend, and you'll love to see the Lions go out with a big-time win, 52-14. And the Titans and Lions were tied at 14. Listen, this is the team the Lions were completely superior over, offensively, defensively, special teams, you name it. The Lions were every bit the better team today, and so they should have gone on to score whatever it was, 50 unanswered. No, not math is hard for me. So what's 52 minus 14? That would be 40 unanswered. So there you have it. That would be, let me try that again. That would be 38 unanswered. There we go. So 7 touchdowns and the 1 field goal. So 38 unanswered for the Lions, other than Goff getting roughed up on back to pass early in the game, couple of sacks for the Titans. It was really a complete and total domination, and the Titans getting a couple of touchdowns early in this game through the air. Mason Rudolph had the 1 touchdown, so you got to give him credit there. And then 1 touchdown on the ground as well, where you got to give him, he faked out Nowaske on that one. And I saw Aaron Glenn, and the broadcast pointed this out, Aaron Glenn talking to Kerby Joseph on that one. And a few plays later, Kerby Joseph goes in and gets an interception. So Aaron Glenn's coaching certainly getting to his guys, and he's getting the most out of them. That's for sure. So up next, a divisional showdown against the Green Bay Packers, who beat the Jags today barely. And the Jags at home gave the Packers everything they could handle. And ultimately it's 30-27 with the Packers coming out on top. Wild day in the NFL. The Browns beat the Ravens, all kinds of stuff. It's any given Sunday. So for the Lions to go out and take care of business against an inferior team, you love to see that. So big week of practice. It'll be tough without Jameson Williams. You miss him against the Packers, but Jordan Love exited that game. Not sure if he'll be back. I believe it was a groin injury, so we'll keep you posted on that. As far as some of the other games to keep an eye out on, the Bears and Commanders just now getting underway in the first quarter, 3-0 Commanders. And that has it for the division because the Vikings played on Thursday and lost to the Rams. All right. Appreciate everybody tuning in. It's always a pleasure to be on the air with each and every one of you. Appreciate the comments and the community that is the Locked On Lions postcast. Like I said, shout out to Matt Derry and the Locked On Lions daily podcast, and a tremendous job that he does. I love and appreciate that as well. And for everybody tuning in to all of our postcasts, whether it be the Locked On Wolverines postcast, Locked On Pistons postcast. That's right. We've got the Locked On Pistons postcast going now with the return of the NBA season. As always, we are keeping it real on Locked On Sports Detroit. It is a busy, busy time, and there's no better place to be than Locked On Sports Detroit. So thanks for making Locked On Lions postcast your first listen. For your second listen, go find the new Locked On NFL now with 2 shows every day. First, the Madman, Tyler Rowland, kicks off your morning with a double shot of NFL espresso, and then stop by the barbershop with Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's going to do it for me. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to be on the air, especially after a Lions victory over the Tennessee Titans, 52-14. Lions 6-1 and in first place in the NFC North. Jared Goff, 3 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, a touchdown on the ground on a 70-yard run, 11 carries for 127 yards, better than 11 yards per carry. My goodness, he's insane. David Montgomery, he found the end zone on the ground, just the 9 carries for 33 yards, but he also threw for a pass. You know about that. Sam Laporta with 48 yards receiving and a touchdown. Kalif Raymond with a punt return for a touchdown as well as a receiving touchdown. And how about Kalif Raymond from the punt return side of things? 5 returns for 190 yards. And of course, the 90-yard touchdown will help that average to 38 yards. That's incredible stuff as well. Jake Bates, 1 for 1 with a 51-yard field goal, 7 for 7 on extra points. Interceptions for Kerby Joseph and Trevor Nowaske. And oh yeah, the forced fumble from Amik Robertson and as well as Carlton Davis. So woo-wee, I think that covered it all. And when you got a lot to cover, it usually means good things. And that was the case for the Detroit Lions today. All right, Aiden Runner, last comment. I'm a huge Lions fan. This was so boring. Sometimes boring is a good thing. We'll take that from time to time. Lions win at 52-14. Thanks so much for tuning in to a Locked On Lions postcast, and we will see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and check us out on the Locked On Pistons postcast throughout this week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It'll be a good time. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Jake_Reitma. Follow back. And of course, subscribe, like the video, share the video as well. I think that covers everything. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, evening, and we'll talk to you next time on Locked On Sports Detroit.